You've just entered the nightmare zone, where the dead don't stay buried, where every shadow hides something hungry, and where your worst fears come to life. This is Nightmare Fuel, and tonight's story will scar you forever. So tell me, brave souls, what terror should we unleash next? Comment below before the screams drown you out. And don't you dare forget, like, subscribe, or the next story might be yours. The alarm blared at 4:30 a.m., ripping me from a dreamless sleep. Daniel Carter, 32 years old, senior flight attendant for Oceanic Skyways, 5 years in the business, and I still hated red eyes. I flicked on the news while chugging coffee. Unrest in multiple cities, CDC investigating violent attacks. The anchor's voice was tense. Grainy footage showed a man in a hospital gown ripping out a nurse's throat with his teeth. Some new drug crisis, I muttered, grabbing my suitcase. I should have paid attention. JFK Airport, 6:15 a.m. The terminal buzzed with nervous energy. Passengers clutched boarding passes, eyes darting to the TVs. A security guard whispered into his radio, "They just locked down Miami." My crew exchanged glances. "We flying or what?" asked Jess, a new hire barely out of training. "Unless they cancel it, we're going," I said. Then I saw passenger 14C, a businessman, mid-40s, sweat soaking his collar. His hands shook violently as he fumbled with his passport. A fresh bite mark oozed red on his wrist. "Sir, you need medical," he snarled. "Mind your fucking business." Spittle hit my cheek. His breath reeked of rotting meat. I backed off, wiping my face. First red flag. Chapter 2. Mid-air massacre somewhere over Kansas, 10:47 a.m. The first scream came from row 14. I sprinted down the aisle just as 14C lunged at a teenager, sinking his teeth into the kid's cheek. Blood sprayed across the overhead bins. The boy shrieked, fingers clawing at the man's face. But 14C tore free a chunk of flesh and swallowed it whole. "Holy shit!" A passenger vaulted over seats. Chaos erupted. Jess grabbed the intercom. "Medical emergency. We need—" 14C whipped his head toward her. With a guttural roar, he charged, slamming her into the galley wall. Her skull cracked against the metal edge. Before she hit the ground, he dug his fingers into her eye sockets and wrenched her head sideways. The snap of her spine echoed through the cabin. 11:33 a.m., locked in the galley. We barricaded the rear with drink carts, but the infected were multiplying. A woman in 12B vomited black bile, then sank her teeth into her husband's neck. A child seized on the floor, his tiny body contorting as bones snapped and reknit. "They're turning faster," I yelled to Marcus, my only surviving crewmate. The cockpit door stayed locked. The captain's voice crackled through the intercom. "Denver's gone. Chicago's gone. We're landing in the fucking desert." Marcus pressed a fire axe into my hands. "If they get through, aim for the head." A bloodied face smashed against the galley curtain. "Too late," I whispered. 2:18 p.m., Nevada wasteland. The plane screamed as it plummeted. Oxygen masks dropped. A baby wailed. Impact. Metal shrieked. Rows of seats folded like accordions, impaling passengers. The cockpit sheared off, hurling the pilots into the dirt. I woke up hanging upside down, seatbelt cutting into my waist. Blood dripped from a gash in my forehead. Marcus groaned beside me, his leg bent at a sickening angle. Then I heard it. Moaning, scratching. The unbuckled undead crawled through the wreckage, broken limbs dragging behind them. 9:03 p.m., Route 93, Nevada. We limped into a deserted gas station. Shattered glass crunched underfoot. The stench of decay hung thick in the air. Marcus collapsed against a cooler. "Danny, they got me." I froze. 4 bloody grooves ran down his calf. "No," I breathed. He grabbed my collar. "When I turn, you put a bullet in my skull." "Promise me." A growl echoed from the storage room. The clerk lurched into view, his jaw hanging by tendons, guts spilling from his apron. Behind him, 6 more emerged, their milky eyes locking onto us. Marcus shoved me toward the door. "Run!" 5:12 a.m. Next morning, I drove through the desert, Marcus's blood still on my hands. The radio spat static. Then one clear sentence. The dead walk. God help us all. I gripped the steering wheel, teeth bared in a feral grin. 24 hours ago, I served peanuts. Now, I survive.